How hard is it for you to say no? Not just difficult, but truly, deeply hard. When someone asks you for something even when you don't want to do it, even when you don't have time, even when it costs you something significant, can you say no? Or do you say yes and then resent it? For some people, saying no feels impossible. It triggers guilt, anxiety, fear of disappointing others. They'd rather overwhelm themselves than risk someone being upset with them. Today, we're testing how hard it is for you to say no. I'll give you 10 situations. Be honest about whether you'd say yes or no, and then we'll explore what's really behind your inability to refuse. Because it's not about being nice. It's about something much deeper. Situation 1. A coworker asks if you can cover their shift. You already have plans that you've been looking forward to. Do you say yes or no? Situation 2. A friend asks to borrow money. You're not in a great financial position yourself, and this friend has borrowed before without paying you back. Do you lend them money? Situation 3. Your family expects you to attend a gathering. You're exhausted, you need rest, and honestly, being around them drains you. Do you go anyway? If you answered yes to most of these, if the idea of saying no made you uncomfortable just thinking about it, keep listening. You're not alone. And there's a reason you feel this way. Situation 4. Someone asks for your help on a project. You're already overwhelmed with your own responsibilities. Do you take on their work too? Situation 5. Your partner wants to do something you really don't want to do. They seem excited about it. Do you agree to make them happy? Situation 6. A friend vents to you for hours regularly. You're tired of being their unpaid therapist, but they keep calling. Do you answer and listen again? Notice the pattern? In each situation, saying no would protect your time, energy, or well-being. But for people who struggle with no, protecting themselves feels selfish. They prioritize everyone else's needs over their own, every single time. Situation 7. You're invited to something you genuinely don't want to attend. Do you make up an excuse or tell the truth and decline? Situation 8. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Do you defend yourself or stay quiet to avoid conflict? Situation 9. You're asked to work late again, cutting into your personal time. Do you agree? Situation 10. Someone crosses your boundary repeatedly. Do you enforce the boundary or let it slide to keep the peace? If you struggle to imagine saying no in most of these situations, if guilt flooded you just thinking about refusing, you have a deep issue with people-pleasing. And it's costing you more than you realize. What does it cost you to never say no? First, your time. You're constantly doing things you don't want to do, helping people who may not even appreciate it, attending events that drain you. Your schedule isn't yours, it belongs to everyone else. Second, your energy. Saying yes when you mean no is exhausting. You're performing. Pretending you're happy to help when you're resentful. That dissonance between what you feel and what you show depletes you. Third, your sense of self. When you never say no, you lose touch with what you actually want. You become so focused on pleasing others that you don't know your own preferences anymore. You've erased yourself to make room for everyone else. So why can't you say no? It's not because you're just too nice. It's deeper than that. For most people who struggle with this, saying no triggers a fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being disliked, fear of disappointing someone, fear of conflict. Somewhere along the way, you learned that your worth is tied to what you do for others. That love is conditional. That if you're not useful, helpful, accommodating, you won't be wanted. This belief usually forms in childhood. Maybe your parents only gave you attention when you were good, helpful, or easy. Maybe you were praised for being selfless and scolded for being selfish. Maybe you watched a parent sacrifice everything and learned that's what love looks like. Let's go deeper into where this started. Children are natural people pleasers because they're dependent on adults for survival. They need to be loved and accepted. So if a child learns that love comes with conditions, that they're only valued when they're helpful or compliant, they adapt. They become the good child, the easy one, the one who never says no. This becomes their strategy for staying safe and loved, and it works in childhood. But as an adult, this pattern becomes a prison. You're still operating as if your survival depends on pleasing everyone. As if saying no means being abandoned, but that's not true anymore. You're not a dependent child. You're an adult who has the right to boundaries. When you think about saying no, what do you feel? Guilt, right? A heavy, uncomfortable guilt that says you're letting someone down. You're being selfish. You're a bad person. But here's the truth. That guilt is a learned response. It's not an accurate moral compass. It's a conditioned reaction from a time when saying no might have led to punishment, withdrawal of love, or being labeled as difficult. The guilt isn't telling you you're wrong. It's telling you you're breaking an old rule. A rule that says your needs don't matter as much as everyone else's. And that rule was never true. It was just a survival mechanism that you no longer need. Here's what happens when you can't say no. You say yes. You do the thing. And at first you might feel okay. You helped someone. You were kind. But then the resentment starts. You realize you didn't want to do this. You're tired. You're overwhelmed. And the person you helped doesn't even seem that grateful. The resentment grows. You start feeling bitter toward people you care about. You feel taken advantage of, used, and the worst part, you can't even blame them. Because you said yes, you didn't set a boundary, so the anger turns inward. You're mad at yourself for not being able to say no, and the cycle continues. Yes, resentment, self-blame, repeat. So how do you learn to say no? First, start small. Practice saying no to low-stakes requests. No, I can't make it. No, that doesn't work for me. Feel the discomfort. Notice that the world doesn't end. People might be disappointed, but they move on, and you survive. Second, reframe what no means. Saying no isn't mean. It's honest. It's self-respect. It's acknowledging that your needs matter too. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're lying. You're teaching people that your boundaries don't exist. Third, sit with the guilt. It will come. Let it be there without letting it control you. Guilt doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means you're changing a pattern. And change always feels uncomfortable at first. Here's what you need to hear. You are allowed to say no. You don't need a good excuse. You don't need to justify it. No is a complete sentence. You're allowed to protect your time, your energy, your peace. You're allowed to prioritize yourself. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. The people who truly care about you will respect your no. The ones who don't were only around for what you could give them. And losing those people isn't a loss. It's freedom. You've been waiting for permission to say no. This is it. You have permission. Not from me, but from yourself. You always did. You just forgot. Saying no is one of the most radical acts of self-love. It's declaring that you matter, that your needs are valid, that you're not here to sacrifice yourself for everyone else's comfort. If you struggled with the situations in this test, if saying no still feels impossible, start now. Start small. Start scared, but start. Because every time you say no when you mean no, you're reclaiming a piece of yourself. You're breaking the pattern that was set in childhood. You're teaching yourself and others that you have value beyond what you can do for them. The guilt will fade, the fear will lessen, and what will remain is you. Whole, boundaried, and finally free to say yes only when you truly mean it.